Hi, this is Robert Maschio, or better known as the Todd from the TV show Scrubs.
Well, welcome back to Sydney.
Down under 5. Thank you very much.
Were you here last year or the year before?
You know what? I've been to Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and now this is my first time in Sydney.
Oh, right. So you've
Yeah.
never made it to the Sydney show before.
Yeah, no, this is it. This is my first and probably last. I feel like I would like to do every major city once.
Yeah.
And then after a while, less is more.
So next time you come back, you'll just do like Hobart, Tasmania or something like that.
If there's a show up there that exists, yes. Otherwise, unless I do another TV show and I have a whole nother wave of things to promote.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be one of those guys who just comes every year for 10 years. Would it be sad, like if I'm a 60-year-old man and I'm still wearing a banana hammock, so all hanging out, or just be like, oh, sir, please. Nobody wants to see that anymore.
Put it away.
Tuck that away, Caitlyn Jenner. Come on. It's too much. So we'll see. But so far, so good. Sydney's really cool.
Yeah, well, we got the show over the weekend, and I'm guessing you have to give out a lot of high fives, and that's kind of is that what does the day consist of for you at these fan
People love
meets?
to simply look at me like I'm an animal at the zoo
Yeah.
and give me high fives because it's something they've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So at some point during the day, we put a sign up over my thing that says high fives only when you buy an autograph or a picture or something. Because otherwise it's literally like kids just running up to me all day high fiving me.
Yeah.
And then 3 days later when I get home, it's like, why am I sick? It's because I've touched the hands of 1,000 people and someone gave me something. So
And that's why you have diabetes. Long story short.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it.
Do you get that in the street as well? Is it like Matt Damon always says how people just yell out Matt Damon to him in the street now? Is that something that you get in the street?
I think Matt Damon is much more famous than I am, and I feel like I can't imagine what it would be like to go through life as a Matt Damon, for example, because he's so famous.
Yeah.
For me, Scrubs had a cult following, so you really have to watch the show to recognize me. And then also a lot of times people, when they see you out of context, they're like, they look at you, and I can see that they're looking. And then I know the thoughts going on in their mind. They're like, did I go to school with that guy? Where do I know that guy from? And then like 20 minutes later or 3 hours later or 5 hours later, they figure it out and they'll like tweet me. And like, I saw you at the bus stop and I didn't realize it was you. I wish I had gotten a high five, but I didn't. And then I send them, I say, hey, a mental 5. Send. And just send it to them. It makes them feel better about it. So
You do what you can.
I do what I can, but you know what? Because of social media, people oftentimes will tweet me or Facebook me asking me for high fives. And it got to a point where I was like, I literally created a high five app. It's called High Five App, highfiveapp.net, and it's literally like 100 different high fives for different occasions, and you can send them to one another via Facebook or Twitter or text or email. And it's so dirty. I wish people would use it more, because some of the high fives, they're all like 6-second videos, and they're like, happy birthday 5. Or as I like to call it, the one day out of the year you are guaranteed a blowjob. So like really dirty high fives. So anyway.
The stuff you could not have gotten away with on network TV.
Could never have gotten away with any of those things.
It's a show now too, because it lasted as long as it did, it's in syndication everywhere. It's now, you can watch the whole thing on Netflix and things like that. Does it seem like it's always getting new fans? Does it seem like it's picking up...
Scrubs ran from 2001 to 2010, so for 9 years. And somewhere along the lines, maybe season 5 or 6, it's syndicated. And
100 episode, wherever that was.
Yes, wherever that was, they sold that first 100. And it ran 4 times a day on Comedy Central in the United States, in addition to like 11 o'clock at night. So 5 times a day, in addition to the original runs. And then, since it was a Disney-owned show, and Disney has like their tentacles stretched across the entire world, it started running in like over 50 countries around the world the same way. So as the show original episodes were winding down, the syndication stuff was just gearing up. And in Australia, New Zealand, and throughout Europe, it was always 2 or 3 years behind. So even though Scrubs ended 5 years ago, it's sort of started to slide down like just the last year or two in terms of syndication. Like it doesn't run 5 times a day anymore. It probably just runs once a day now. So it's definitely had a shelf life and an afterlife long after, from the time we wrapped shooting those original episodes. And I find that fascinating, quite honestly, yeah.
And Have you ever listened to yourself dubbed in other languages?
I have. For whatever reason, in Germany, they love me there, and it's really weird to hear it. So Germany and Italian are my answer, are the two languages I've heard.
Yeah.
Myself dubbed in, and they're both much higher pitched. I don't know how they do all that stuff. It's really interesting, and it's very funny to hear yourself dubbed for sure. Yeah.
Have you done much voice acting?
I haven't done no voice acting, no voiceover stuff. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm only on camera. I mean, when you have this, you got to be on camera.
That's right. That's right.
Have you ever had a look at those voiceover actors? My God, they look like homeless people.
I hope Tom Kenny's not listening to this.
I'm totally kidding. They're all very talented.
So what have you up to at the moment? What have you got going on?
The biggest thing is that app, quite honestly, because it took a lot of work to create that app, and it's available on the App Store and at Google Play for Android devices. And I shot 100 different videos that on my green screen. I green screened it. I wrote, shot, edited, compressed. I created all the content for that app, and then I passed it off to the app guys. So that was like a 2-year project. And then I created like an online store where I basically sell high five t-shirts at my store, robertmaschio.com. And the t-shirts are literally promoting the app. So like 30,000 people have downloaded that app, which is, it's nice. It's a noble failure. I haven't made any money off it, but I've really enjoyed doing it. So that's the biggest creative project. And then I'm writing more, and I've done some guest spots. Like I was on Cougar Town, on Dateable, Men at Work. I have a couple commercials running in the United States right now. So I'm just getting little jobs here and there. But I'm staying in Los Angeles because I would very much like to do another half-hour comedy if that's possible. But now that I'm older, I feel like I'll probably play a dad, somebody, an old,
pull a John Stamos and play a grandfather.
Maybe, I mean, sure, why not? Why not? Why not? I'll pull a Stamos.
Doesn't everyone?
Yes. Yeah, if they can get away with it. And the other thing I would say is that
there's probably a pull of John Stamos high five somewhere in there.
Maybe I'll make one. Maybe I'll make one for him. Stamos, Lamos, John Stamos 5 for the ladies. That'll be terrible. The other thing is that you asked me about the afterlife of Scrubs, and I never realized that this world of Comic-Cons existed, because Scrubs doesn't necessarily fit into this world.
Yeah.
And because the Todd was a two-dimensional, somewhat, character, and the nature of the interactive nature, like the high five and the costume and the sexual innuendo, I kind of carved out a little niche. So 2 or 3 times a year, I get to go to Sydney, Australia, or Germany, or Vienna. I've traveled a lot the last 5 years.
And I bet you would have never have expected that kind of, especially in the early years of the show when it was gaining a...
Never would have thought about it. Never realized it. Probably would have done more of it had I realized this world existed, because... let me get more serious for a minute. My parents have always said that, when we retire, we're going to travel the world. And now my parents are 75, and they can't even make it up the hill. You know what I mean? They're not going to travel the world. So I did take this opportunity. I realized that this is an opportunity for me to see the world, to meet Scrubs fans all around the world, and to have these adventures while I'm still relatively young enough to enjoy it.
Before you're 60 and they kick you out.
Yeah, because then at that point it's going to be come on, dude. Go to Florida and retire. Hammock up.
Well, I really appreciate your time.
Nice talking to you.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.